Hello guys and welcome back to Team Whirlwind. Jim here as always, coming at you with a commentary for our live duel, myself piloting Security Force and Ruby piloting her Speedroids. The die roll gets performed here and Speedroids win. Looking at our hands now and thinking about the options, this is Speedroid with Wind Witch thrown in. This is the new engine, so we're going to see what it can do here, beginning with a Wind Witch. I believe that one is called Glass Bell. To go ahead and add a Wind Witch monster from deck to hand, going for Ice Bell here. We are then activating Wind Witch Chimes, which allows you to special summon a Wind Witch monster. Target one Wind Witch monster you control, special summon a Wind Witch from the deck with a different name. So we're going to go for the other new Wind Witch here, which is Freeze Bell. Freeze Bell is an interesting one. It allows you to special summon it when you control one wind monster. And once per turn it can increase its level by 1, and a synchro monster summoned using this monster cannot be destroyed by card effects. Up next here is the new Speedroid Roulette card. This lets you roll a dice and special summon 2 monsters from the deck whose levels equal what you roll. So with a 3 being rolled here, there can be a level 2 and a level 1. We're going for the Speedroid Pendulum monster, and I believe a red-eyed dice is soon to hit the field. Here we go. And from here, normally Speedroid combos will ensue. However, hand traps are a thing that are now in the new and improved Security Force list that I'm running. There's an awful lot more than there were in the previous one. Ruby is going to go ahead and commit using 2 Speedroids to summon the rubber band plane here, which will be met with an infinite impermanence, hopefully preventing her from comboing off to the full extent that Speedroids are enabled to, forcing her to only use the Wind Witches. A special summon of Ice Bell now, because she controls 2 or more wind monsters, and then a synchro summon for a 7 for the Winter Bell. And then Ruby uses the Winter Bell effect, targeting the level 4 Wind Witch in the grave to inflict me for 800 damage. And then sync up for a Clear Wing. My mistake, that's a Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing and Clear Wing, I always get those two mixed up. But I'm going to begin my turn with a Reinforcement of the Army, fetching a Security Force Rapper. I don't expect a lot of what my plays are to go through because they are not brilliant with this hand, but we'll normal summon Rapper and use the effect banishing Rapper from hand for cost. This of course will obviously be being hit with the negate and sent to the graveyard. I then set 2 and pass the turn back over to Ruby. Ruby takes a second to read and ask what my Rapper does before making her play. She then normal summons the Wind Witch Pendulum monster, being met with a There Can Only Be One, opting to keep the Rubber Band plane and the Crystal Wing. Flicking through her deck, she adds another Speedroid card that I have never seen nor read. I just know that it special summons itself out to the field, as most of the Speedroids do. I just noticed there's a cheeky little can of Budweiser. Obviously, we are playing over my house, just relaxing and enjoying some Yu-Gi-Oh! So please do excuse that if it pops up again. I attempt to activate the Security Force trap card here to special summon a Security Force from either banished or graveyard to a zone that an opponent's monster points to. Ruby allows that to go through, and I was hoping to draw into a Security Force card so that I could trigger the Rapper. Checking through my extra deck here to see what I have access to, and deciding that there's not much that I can do through this, so scooping up. Here we are, beginning Game 2. Game 2 again doesn't go particularly well for me. I open up a bit of a brick hand. However, this time I can at the very least combo by normal summoning Rapper and banishing what looks like a dog to special summon Gravito, and Gravito will add Chase. I'll then be setting 2 cards and passing the turn over to Ruby. This game for Ruby does not go particularly amazing. She will begin by special summoning a Terratop, as she controls no monsters, and adding the new one which special summons itself and modulates levels. She's just asking here what the security force does, so I'm explaining anything in the same column as a security force will be banished rather than sent to the graveyard due to Gravito. She then special summons a Tacky Tomborg and normal summons the Pendulum one. Using the effect to do whatever it does is being met with an Effect Veiler. And here comes the Roulette Wheel by discarding 1, also being met by Ash here as I don't want 2 bodies hitting the board. Ruby then special summons the other Speedroid in hand and immediately links off for Rubber Band Plane. I'm taking it here to have a good long read of it. Returning it, and I am choosing to fire the Security Force trap here now to return it to the hand. Or in this case, it returns to the extra. Ruby now firing the Tacky Tomborg effect to tribute itself and special summon a Speedroid from the deck. Typically this goes into a red-eyed die, however this time there is a Duke being hit, and then a Synchro summon for what looks like a 7 coming down on the board. She's just counting out her graveyard. And we have hitting the board. Wow, taking her time picking about this one. I think she's got a few options that she's considering. There's a line which involves more intense comboing, but again, I'm not sure her hand's strong enough to do it. So she opts instead to summon out a Virtual World Gigi. Now, at this, because it was... it's a problem for Security Force to typically out, as it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects here. And has run over the Gravito. She's saving her resources for next turn, only having 1 card in hand. However, the end phase for me is a Scapegoat. We're grabbing what was just off to our side here, a collection of fake, funny Yu-Gi-Oh cards that will be representing tokens in this game. Here is where I make possibly the worst play I've ever made with this deck, as I realise that from the extra deck I have removed the power card of choice, being Mekk-Knight Avram, and didn't realise it until we had started recording, so I'm stuck with a bunch of things that I don't really want to summon. However, we do go for a Link 1 for a Link Spider, followed up by a Link 2 for a Ripidocus. I then sit there and contemplate my options before normal summoning Security Force Ropper, using the effect banishing Security Force Chase from the grave to pay the cost, returning Ropper to hand, and special summoning a copy of... Looks like I'll go for a Gravito here, and then Gravito effect to add a Security Force Brigade Head. Okay, after adding a Brigade Head, I proceed to activate it to search myself for a copy of a Orifice. Orifice coming in quite useful, being a on-field Ghost Ogre for anything that activates in the same column as a Security Force. Okay then, now referring back to the extra deck, I link 2 for a copy of Nightmare Unicorn? That's not how that works. Oh no, I'm a dum-dum. So I use the token, the Link Spider, and the Security Force monster to make a Nightmare Unicorn, pitch a card and shuffle, and then I simply get in for 3k. This was where I was talking about needing the Avram. as I realised it wasn't in there and there wasn't actually anything else in the extra deck worth making at this point. It also doesn't matter too much as Ruby begins her turn here by activating the Speedroid Roulette, rolling yet another 3, enabling her to summon up to 2 monsters from her deck whose levels equal 3, going once again for the Pendulum monster and for Red-Eyed Die. It's at this point that I flip up the worst floodgate in the game. There can be only one. And Ruby scoops that one over, going into Game 3. Game 3, of course, Speedroids will be taking first on this occasion. Both looking at our hands here. And Ruby begins with a normal summon of Glass Bell to search for a Wind Witch monster. And she's going to pick up the new one. The new one, of course, can special summon itself from hand if you control one wind monster. So that's what she's going to do. Go ahead and special summon her out. And then special summon, or perhaps, yes, special summon the new Speedroid monster. Ruby did say that her hand had omegally clogged up during this game, but the new Speedroid monster has appeared now in all 3 of these games. A synchro summon here, after using the effect to increase her level. Going to make a Clearwing. I think this one's called Clearwing anyway, it's what I'm calling it. Yes it is, Clearwing Synchro Dragon. So Clearwing and a Ice Bell Pass is all that Speedroids were able to do with a brick to this extent. I begin by normal summoning the Security Force. That allows me to special summon a Security Force from hand. I go for a Gravito and opt not to use the effect here because I don't want it getting Clearwinged. I then go to battle phase and I punch over, dealing 500 damage, and it is of course banished because it's in the same column as a Security Force monster. By the way, I hope people appreciate how incredibly hard it is to commentate something when you have to say Security Force for every monster while it's at 1.5 speed. It is not the easiest thing in the world to do. My turn also consists of a set 3 and a pass to Ruby. And Ruby is going to look through her extra decks here. This game does not last particularly long. My back row is all live. But Ruby begins rather strong herself with a normal summon of Speedroid. I think this one's called Yugioh, which will allow a revive of something from the grave. So I'm going to imperm it here, and then on the resolution, I'm going to chain chase to bounce the Speedroid back to hand and bounce the Clearwing. The Clearwing, however, because it's in the same column as the Security Force, will be banished. And Ruby gonna scoop this one up. Her hand clogged to all hell. Anyway, guys, that's all from us this time. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Good night.